Hey there, folks. Chuck here. And wow, 300. That's amazing. I am totally blown away that we've gotten to 300 subscribers this quickly, and it's a huge honor, and I'm deeply flattered by everyone who has supported me and subscribed and left your amazing comments and kind words. It's incredible. I do have a couple of big announcements for this video, so please be sure to stick around for those. But I wanted to show off some amazing new additions to the Flying Valiant fleet, courtesy of a few of my fellow YouTube creators, TK Diecast, who has a great channel on reviewing premium diecast cars, I highly recommend, and Super Wes, who is a fellow car guy from Gainesville, Florida, that has a great channel on vinyl collecting. And if you're a novice collector or an expert, he's got something for everyone on that channel. And while I'm getting started, I wanted to give a shout out to my friend Erica, who's also from Gainesville, for being subscriber number 300. Thank you. And while I'm thanking people, I have to give a huge shout out to my amazing wife and my daughter, my family and friends who have been so incredibly supportive and patient and encouraging in helping me pursue this crazy idea. So yeah, in my first video, I mentioned that we don't really know each other that well yet, and I didn't really want to get into my 2020 journey that led to this channel creation. And there's still a lot that I'm not quite ready to share, but since there's 300 of you now, I think we should talk a little bit about how we got here. I've always been into cars, large and small. I've been collecting them since I was a little kid. I had Hot Wheels cars as long as I can remember. Some of them you're going to see on this channel that I had for over 30 years. I come from a model building family. My grandfathers built models. My dad and I built model cars together, and I was building 1/24th scale and 1/25th scale vehicles right up to and through the early stages of our marriage. And that was something I was getting pretty good at, and I was learning a lot from amazing scale builders like Ken Hamilton and Dr. Cranky, who also has a great YouTube channel, and Chuck Doan, and a bunch of other great diorama builders. And then one day we got a house with a garage, and it was finally time for me to build a big car. And that was my big car project for 7 years. I did a full rotisserie restoration on my 64 Valiant that I've had since I was 15, and it's the car that this channel is named after. So I got out of the miniature hobby for a little bit, put a lot of things on the shelf, and once the Valiant was done, I dabbled in a few other big car projects, but with a new daughter, I found that they were too big of a time and monetary drain on my life. So I kind of got out of hobbies altogether for a little bit, and then this new job came along. I've always followed my heart when it comes to jobs, and in mid-2019, I decided to follow my wallet instead and pick cash over culture, and I almost immediately regretted it. The new job was really stressful, the culture was not great, and it led to me needing to find an outlet, and I was out running an errand one day, and they happened to carry some green light cars at the store I was in. I found this 1985 Mercury Grand Marquis station wagon, and the detail was just incredible. I hadn't really paid attention to diecast cars for a while, and all of a sudden I just kind of realized how incredibly detailed they had gotten, and I was fascinated. I started looking up diecast websites, which led to diecast YouTube channels, and I was hooked. I mean, I was watching videos by Sharon Tarshish, who does amazing weathered builds, and Sideways King 75 and his amazing scratch building, Aki Hasudo, and Jakarta Diecast with their amazing technical builds. And then, of course, I found the Three Blind Mice, Lee, George, and Paul, and they're really cool invitationals, and I was just like, oh man, this just seems like so much fun, and I could really use something fun in my life. Has a supportive community and an ease of access, and focuses on some things that I'm really into, which is building models and specifically cars. So it seemed like a perfect fit. So I thought these would be a lot easier to store than my larger scale models that I had built in the past, and there were so many resources out there that I didn't realize were available as far as like aftermarket parts, and 3D resin printing was finally becoming an accessible thing, so I dove in. I spent like way too much money. I bought hundreds of cars and tons of modeling supplies, and this was going to be my new thing. I even got a 3D printer, and then 2020 came about a month early. The evening before my birthday in December, I was working on removing supports from a 3D print. My hobby knife slipped, and I did some substantial tissue and nerve damage to the ring finger on my left hand. It was late at night at that point, and I had to go to the ER instead of an urgent care. And through some amazing loopholes in the modern American healthcare system, I managed to skirt any insurance coverage entirely and was stuck with a very large hospital bill. And after a lot of fighting and phone calls to no avail, I am pleased to report that I will finally be paying off the last of that hospital bill in about a week. So yeah, that was a fun little slip of the wrist there. Almost immediately after I had that incident, it was like literally a few days later, came a string of scenarios in my job, and let's just say they threatened my financial and vocational viability. I'll leave it at that. It was clear I was on borrowed time with this company. They didn't like me, I didn't like them, and so it was time to start looking for a new option. Within the next week, we were rear-ended by a kid with no insurance, with my 2-year-old in the car. That was rough, but fortunately we were all able to escape injury, and there was only minor damage to the car. A few days after that, my wife's purse was stolen, and we lost my cat Gravy for 4 days, which is its own terrible story. We got him back, and that was wonderful, but he wasn't looking so hot, and we took him to the vet, who promptly informed us that he had liver cancer, and it was bad. And we said goodbye to him the next morning. Literally the day after that, I was informed that the situation at work that had been bad had suddenly turned much worse. And by the next week, I had the flu. 3 weeks after that, another one of our cats, Biscuit, who I've talked about earlier, was hit and killed right outside our front door. And that was the same day that a promising job prospect fell through, and I was back to square one on my job search. At this point, I had made a few videos for the channel, and it seemed like the hobby was going okay, and it kind of became my escape in a very unhealthy manner. It had taken all my money, and now it was taking all my time and most of my sleep. And that meant I was not being the husband and father I needed to be around the house. So there was collapse, darkness, and the channel was deleted for a while. But there was also forgiveness, friendship, family, lots of therapy, and I got a new offer, and things started to turn around. Friday, March 13th, I said goodbye to my old job and started my new job on March 16th, and spent a grand total of 1 day in the office before the entire world shut down. Now, I'm still working for this company, and I love it. They're wonderful people. They're exactly who I should have pursued working with last year, and actually did turn down pursuing a job with them when the cash for the previous position was distracting me from listening to the voice in my head that tells me to follow my heart and let the money follow. And they've been great, but times are tough for them too. And next month they're switching to reduced hours and pay to keep things afloat, and fortunately everybody's going to get to keep their jobs. And while that means I'm going basically from making the most money I ever made in my life to the least amount of money I've made in a decade, there's some positivity to it as well. And that comes from there being now more time at home to be with the ones I love and pursue this hobby, which has brought me just so much joy. And even though there was a lot of chaos in the beginning, everybody's been incredible and supportive, and there's a chance I may even be able to start making back a fraction of the money that I shoveled into this during all those dark times. Following my 3 blind mice build of the green Chevy Nova, somebody saw that video and offered to buy it, and I wasn't originally planning to sell any of my builds, but he offered me a number that I was like, really? Okay, that seems too good to turn down. And not only that, he also offered to hire me to build another car for him. And you'll be seeing a video about that soon. So that's a positive turn on things. It's definitely not going to make up the money that I'm going to be missing out on, but it's nice to have the hobby start to support itself. It turns out, as much as I thought it would be like saying goodbye to a part of my soul to get rid of something I built, it was a lot easier than I thought it would be. And I've recently discovered most of the fun is in the journey of building the vehicles anyway. And it's cool to know that my work is going to live on somewhere else and be enjoyed by another enthusiast, and I can continue to use that money to work on this hobby that's meant so much to me. So that's where the big announcement comes in. Like so many other creators on this platform, I am launching a Patreon, and support through that will provide me with the opportunity to continue to try new things and make better videos. Plus, it's going to give those of you who are really interested in getting involved with the channel a chance to be directly involved with the content I'm creating. This is not just going to be you supporting me making the videos, it's going to give members access to all sorts of additional content, including multiple behind-the-scenes updates, first looks at new content, opportunity to vote on future builds, and I'm going to be creating articles and guides that you'll be able to use on your own builds, along with access to all my design files, including my 3D print designs, which I think I can finally look at my 3D printer again without my hand hurting. There will also be discounts on commissions and other fun stuff. You can find that link also in the description of this video. So please check it out, and if you have the means and the desire, I would be humbled and flattered for your support. So here we are, 300 subscribers and an uncertain future ahead. Again, I can't thank you enough for all the kind words, likes, shares, subscribes, and the free stuff that's helped keep this thing rolling. You're all amazing, and I am so grateful. And while I'm talking about free stuff, I also happened recently across a bunch of HO scale stuff, as well as some in scale, and I have my stash of 1/25th scale stuff as well. So while I got you here, how would you feel about me occasionally doing something other than Diecast builds? They'd probably still all be weathered, and I'd be doing dioramas, mostly automotive stuff, but I think the diecast will still be mostly what I do, but I thought it might be fun to mix it up a little bit and try some other scales. So please leave your thoughts on that in the comments below. Again, thank you so much to my amazing subscribers and friends, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel and hitting the little bell so you can see what's coming up next. I've got a few fun ones coming, and there's already some stuff going up on my Patreon, so sure would be nice to have you join. Once again, thanks to TK Diecast and Super West for all the amazing stuff that you've been seeing while I've been talking, and the additions they've given to the Flying Valiant fleet. You can check out their channels, as I mentioned earlier, in the description, as well as some other amazing people like my brother Dustin, who has helped this channel with its amazing logo and a bunch of other cool designs. You can check out his TeePublic store and support him. He's also a very creative, wonderful person that creates some really cool artwork, and you could really help him out right now as he's going through some similar cutbacks, as are we all. As always, I want to thank everybody for coming along with me for the ride. So until next time, stay fresh, cheese bags.